My name is Lavelle Jackson and I work Cy-Fair Independent School District. I've been with the district for approximately 27 years. And today what we're going to do is demonstrate to you and how to properly secure and unsecure a wheelchair onto a bus. Not only will we learn how to secure and unsecure a wheelchair, but we're going to learn what does it mean to go ground level. We're going to learn the emergency evacuation. How do we unload and load? And what role did you play as a driver and what role did you play as an attendant? So welcome, and I hope you enjoy the video. I now have my special needs team with me that's going to help me out on demonstrating some of the different skills. And we have...
I am Julie Bolton and I am a special needs attendant.
And...
I'm Jennifer Fantroy and I'm a special needs attendant.
Jennifer Robbins, special needs driver.
And welcome back. Now we'll get started in showing you the different skills onto a special needs bus. Now we're inside a special needs school bus and we're going to demonstrate to you as our team and how to properly secure a wheelchair. We have our driver who's located in the front of the wheelchair 99.9% of the time, and we have our attendant who's also located in the back of the wheelchair 99.9% of the time. And also we have Jenna who's going to play our student this morning. So guys, if you will, let's demonstrate in how to properly secure a wheelchair. They're going to go ahead and take their equipment out. We're going to always start on the outside in the front. If you're in the front of the wheelchair, the driver's always on the outside tracks. And if you notice that they're pulling out, hitting that T, and if you notice that Jack is also putting the latch and the buckle together, he's going to hit his release to pick up some of that slack. And then we have Julie who's in the inside of the tracks in the back. She's trying to get a nice 45-degree angle. She's going to go ahead and grab the rest of her equipment. And if you notice, they're not watching each other. Each person is doing what they need to be doing. We really don't have to look at what the other person's doing until it's time to secure the wheelchair. So again, the driver's always in the front. You always lock down on the outside tracks, which we call butterfly out. And the attendant is always on the inside tracks. Now they're going to communicate on what side they're going to...
The driver's side.
Okay. If you notice, they're securing the driver's side of the wheelchair first, the driver's side.
Door side.
Securing the door side. Once they have secured the wheelchair with their own strength, the attendant in the back is going to give a shake test to the wheelchair to make sure that it's properly secured. And it is. Now she's going to put the brake back onto the wheelchair, which adds another form of security. If you notice the driver, he's going to place the lap belt. Every child should have a lap belt on in a wheelchair. Whether it's a compliance wheelchair or non-compliance wheelchair, they should have a lap belt on. And this driver noticed that this child did not have their belt on, so he pursued it on. So ladies and gentlemen, we have secured the wheelchair. Now that we've secured the wheelchair, we're going to secure the child in the chair. Julie's going to take her buckle, and notice that she's going to make an adjustment to this buckle. She's going to make that buckle long. We never adjust a buckle around the child, always before. Julie's going to take her hook, and she's going to place the hook onto the D-ring, and she's going to make sure that her belt is nice and straight. She's going to decide whether to take that belt over or under, and she's decided to go over. And this is very important because she wants to make sure that that buckle reaches the pelvis bone of her student, and it does. Now she's going to take what we call the lap and shoulder. She's pulling on it nice and slow. If she pulls up on that hard, it actually locks itself. So she can't lock it until she pulls on it nice and gentle. Again, she's going to take the hook to the D-ring. Got a beautiful angle. She's going to hand over the latch, and the driver's going to reach over. Love the window, not the child. He's only going to pull what he thinks he needs. If he needs more, he can pull more. Very good. He's communicating with his partner to let the shoulder strap down some so he can get what he needs to go around the student. Notice how he walks around the wheelchair, watching the equipment and working from the inside of the bus. He takes his seat. He takes the latch and buckle, put it together, and he wants to place that onto her pelvis bone. He holds it in place, and his partner's going to make an adjustment so it don't move. Good job, team. And now we have it, ladies and gentlemen. We've secured the wheelchair and we've secured the child in the chair. Good job. Okay, now that we've learned how to properly secure the student and the wheelchair in the chair, we're going to now learn how to unsecure the child properly. Jennifer, you feel pretty good in this chair? Okay, so now they're going to unsecure our child, and it takes the driver and the attendant to play their role to be able to do this efficiently. So team, are you ready? Ready. So let's go ahead. We always unsecure the child first. The driver gets up, the attendant gets up. They both have a role to play. If you notice, the driver has his role, the attendant has her role. She's going to put her equipment up, and notice the driver how they walk around the equipment trying not to trip or fall over the equipment. We always take the equipment off the wheelchair first. That's what our driver is doing. He's releasing the tension on that wheelchair. He's going to unbuckle it, male and female together. He's going to hold on to it and press the release. He's going to pull up on the T and place the equipment into the pouch. That is important. The same way with the attendant, she has a role to play. She too is going to take it off the wheelchair first, male and female. She's going to hit the T, very good, and place the equipment into the pouches. Our equipment always go into our pouches. Always. We never leave the equipment into the floor because someone can be injured, and someone has been injured because of the equipment left into the floor. We never want to do that. So at this point in time, now that we have unsecured the child and we have unsecured the wheelchair, it's time for the next phase, loading and unloading. Okay, now that we have demonstrated how to unsecure the child properly into the wheelchair, now we're going to unload, and we're going to demonstrate that. This is our control box for our lift, and it more or less is what you see is what you're going to say. We have the up position, we have the down position, we have the fold, and we have the unfold. It's very important that we know which button that we're pressing when we're operating the lifts. So more or less what you see is what you're going to say. So hopefully you'll press the right button for the right thing for the lift to go out, to extend out properly. Messing with the wrong button or pressing the wrong button can lock up the lift or can even damage the lift. And that's our control box. I'm going to hand it over to our attendant, and she's going to control it to get the child off the bus. As we can see that our driver's going to go ahead and open up the door from the outside. He's going to de-chain the chain from the door, and he's going to place that rope to the outside of the bus. That's to keep the door in place just in case it rains, the wind is blowing. He doesn't have to worry about that. They're going to communicate with each other before that lift actually comes down. As you heard, she says that she was unfolding. That helps him to stand back out of the way. If the lift falls, it can free fall and it can injure someone severely. We have our attendant that's inside, the driver's normally on the outside. As she places her student outside of the lift, notice the driver reaches out to help her to place that child onto the lift itself. Okay? He has hands on, he's communicating with the attendant. And when he's ready, giving her the signal, she's ready to go down. It looks like our student don't like the lift too much, but she's okay. She's safe. Very good. Notice that he's going to undo her brake. And he's standing to the side where he's going to push her off. Go ahead and take her off, Jack. And that's best practice. That was an unloading procedure. Now what we're going to do is load the student. And if you notice the driver's going to get in the child's bubble, go ahead and get in her bubble. That's best practice. Always be in front of the child. He's unsecuring her brake. He's going to get in front of the child that's in her bubble, more or less because he has more control. He can see the lift and he can guide her on safely. And watch and notice as he does that. She's in good hands when he actually loads her that way, the proper way. He's loading, putting the brakes back on. He's putting his hands back in position. He's going to communicate with his driver or the attendant. Before the child is ever lifted, the driver and the attendant communicate when they're ready to lift the child up. Notice that the driver never takes his hands off the wheelchair. That's a securement for the student. To let her know if something happens, I'm here for you. He's not going to do anything until she says she's ready and knows she's going to undo the brake, and he pushes it back, and we're going to load our student. She's bringing the student in to be secured, where they're going to secure the student. The black box is her indicator, so she's going to line the wheelchair with the black box and straddle 2 of the tracks. She's going to secure the brake. The door remains open until the student actually is locked or secured inside the bus. She comes back out. She's going to announce to the driver that she's clear, and she lets it up. And at this point, the driver secures the door. He will go inside, and he will continue to help his attendant secure the child and the wheelchair. We're going to go back to securement of the wheelchair, but this time we're going to be working with a non-compliance wheelchair. What is that, you ask? Well, we're going to show it to you, and we're going to demonstrate that. We have our student. Julie's going to play our student this time, and she's going to be secured by our team. So team, if you will, go ahead and secure our student into the non-compliance wheelchair. Jack's still the same procedure follows. The formula is always the same. I don't care what kind of chair it is, what type of chair it is, how big it is, how small it is. It always go secured the same way as far as that goes. The form is always the same. Notice that this wheelchair is different, and notice where the equipment is located. It's a little higher than that non-compliance, the compliance wheelchair we had. And so we got Jennifer to the back here. She's going to be securing the back. She always have to find a spot to secure this particular wheelchair into. Okay, so she's doing her row, the driver's doing his row, and she's going to go ahead and secure the back of the wheelchair around the main frame. The strongest part of the wheelchair is where she's going to be hooking it up. Good job. She's going to hit that leverage again. She's picking up that slack.
Ready?
Okay.
Other side.
They're communicating together. They're securing one side of the wheelchair or stabilizing.
Door side.
Then they're going to stabilize the other side. When they think that they got this chair as tight as they can get it, they're going to do what we call a shake test. The driver's going to undo the brake. The attendant's going to see will it move back and forth, and she's not going anywhere. How do you feel, Julie? Feel good? We're good. The driver's going to put back on the brakes onto the wheelchair, and that's the securement of our non-compliance wheelchair. So what Jennifer's going to do, she's going to take out her buckle. She's going to make an adjustment to the buckle. What we're doing is securing a non-compliance wheelchair. It's a little different than a compliance wheelchair. She's going to take the hook to the D-ring. She's going to hook it up. Then she's going to take the buckle. The difference is she's going to take this buckle and feed it through the back of the chair and pull it out and lay it over the wheel. Very good. Now she's going to take the lap and shoulder. She's going to put it ever so gentle. Pull out what you need. Hold your latch plate up. You want to take that up. Pull what you need. Now she's going to take that hook and drop it through the back of the wheelchair. That's a little different between a non-compliance wheelchair and a compliance chair. She has to drop it behind the seat itself. She's going to take the hook. You can sit back. And she's going to take the hook and hook it up to the D-ring. Okay. At that point, Jack's going to step over. And he's going to do what he normally does as far as the driver's row. Jennifer's going to press the red button up there for he can release the shoulder. Pull down on it, Jennifer. Okay. And he's going to come around and he's going to feed the latch to the buckle. Stop pulling on it, yeah. Pull it toward the wheelchair. She's going to pull the belt toward the wheelchair. Okay, and voila. How do you feel, Julie? Is it too tight? Does it feel good? Okay, voila, and we have it. A non-compliance wheelchair, a child properly secured the right way. Okay, now that we learned how to unload non-ambulatory students off the bus and on the bus, now we're going to learn how to load ambulatory students on and off the bus. Okay, now we have the bus approaching, we're going to do a loading procedure. Our attendant's going to come off the bus, and she greets her parent. As you notice, she's ground level. She's greeting the parent, she's greeting the student, and notice the position that she has the student in. She's behind her student, making sure that she doesn't fall or hurt herself.
How you doing, Jack?
And she's loading her onto the bus.
Have a good day. Scoot over a little bit.
Now that we have shown you loading procedures with ambulatory students, we're now going to demonstrate the proper way to do an unloading procedure with an ambulatory student. The attendant is getting up out of her seat to release the ambulatory students off the bus. Her body language, notice that she's in front of the student, she's ground level. She's going to give the student to the caretaker, and at this point she gets back onto the bus and the caretaker goes her way. Okay, now that we've learned how to do loading and unloading as far as ambulatory and non-ambulatory students, we're going to talk about emergency evacuation. How do we evacuate? What door do we use to evacuate? Who goes first when we evacuate? We're going to be showing you how to evacuate a wheelchair out the back door, and we're also going to show you how to evacuate a chair off the lift. What we're going to do now is going to demonstrate how to evacuate out of the rear of the bus with a non-compliance wheelchair. Jack, if you would, we're going to go ahead and get our most critical student, turn her around. We need to get her out. He's going to push the wheels of the wheelchair to the very edge of the end of the bus. Once he gets there, he's going to tilt the wheelchair. Let the weight rest on his legs. He's got to bend. The ladies outside is going to try to grab the wheelchair somewhere, keeping the wheels in contact with the bumper itself. The driver's going to have to let go eventually. He lets go. Very good. And the ladies outside continue to evacuate with the wheels staying in contact with the rear of the bus. So we may have gotten the wheelchair out. We may have even broken some bones, but we saved a child's life. That's our rear door emergency evacuation, and now we'll proceed with the lift evacuation. If we really had to do a serious evacuation, we always take the most critical first. So Ann is going to be our most critical. We're going to take her off the lift, but before we're taking her out, there's a few steps that we need to do before we can do that. First of all, we're going to open up the lift. You're going to be learning manually how to open up the lift, and also how to do a real emergency evacuation. So we have Jack here. Jack, if you will, go ahead and get your hand pump. And he's going to take the hand pump. Every bus is different, so know where the hand pump is located. Okay? She's going to take the hand pump. He's going to put the hand pump into the key as far as the mechanism in there to let the lift down. You heard of left loosey, righty tighty? Well, he's going to turn it to the left real slow, and then he's going to open it up real fast. So go ahead and start to turn it real slow, Jack, and then open it up. And then start to turn it to the right to start to lock it. Lock it, lock it. We want it nice and flat when you do let the lift out. So Jack's going to take his child. We have the attendant is on the outside of the bus, and she's helping him as though they're doing a real evacuation, emergency evacuation, or if they were unloading the child. Her hands are on the wheelchair itself. He's going to manually go back down. He's going to open up the lift, and the lift is going to go all the way down. The attendant's going to see to it, or whoever's on the outside of the bus is going to see to it that the child has gotten to a safe location, at least 100 to 300 feet away from danger. She's going to take the child. Very good. She's going to take the child to the safe location, give to a good Samaritan. While upon her return, if we had another wheelchair, all we had to do was actually pump up the lift. And that's what Jack's going to do at this point in time. He's going to take his hand pump, and he's going to begin to pump the lift. That takes a lot of muscle, ladies and gentlemen. If it's hot outside, we're going to be tagging one another. Okay, Jack, you can stop, but you get the point. What it would have to do, and we would get our next wheelchair off the bus and off safely if necessary. At that point, both of our teams will come inside, and we will get the rest of our students and get everyone to a safe location.